Right.
How is a short-term rental owner's policy different from a standard issue homeowner's policy?
So you really only have three options if you were to contact, say, State Farm. The first option would be personal use of the property. Many of us are homeowners and we buy a homeowner's policy for the place we live, where we reside, where we get our mail. So that contract was constructed in a way to cover a personal residence. The second part is what's called a dwelling or a landlord product. And that is your traditional long-term rental where you don't live at the property, you rent it out, right? It's an investment property. It's not the place you live. You rent it out. Business insurance, which has a little bit more horsepower than a dwelling or a homeowner's policy. The problem is a lot of people who own a short-term vacation rental will use it themselves for a period of, say, a month or 2 weeks out of the year. They say, hey, let's vacation there for the 4th of July. Well, what do you do at that point? Do you buy a homeowner's policy for 2 weeks and then cancel it and then buy a dwelling product for the rest of the year? Potentially you could, but that's an exposure. We started to realize the multi-use of these properties. You may run a short-term rental for 6 months and then say, you know what, this isn't working for me. I'm in a college town. I'm going to rent to college kids for 6 months. Well, now you've sort of transitioned over to a landlord product where they live there, they're a landlord. So it gets really messy really quick. And so if you look at all the products, none of them were constructed in a way to 100% cover a short-term rental. So what we did, we put together a product that combines all three. We think of it as a homeowner's policy, a landlord policy, and a commercial policy all wrapped into one for the short-term rental owner. And just a couple quick examples of cool things that we were the first company to do in the history of insurance. We added on bed bug coverage because this was a big hot point in the industry, property and liability coverage for bed bugs. We were the first to introduce squatters insurance. When COVID hit and that craze was going on and people were kind of switching to the midterm rental, if you will, the people who were working remote, there was a need to create a unique endorsement for squatters coverage. And arguably the biggest one we did, the biggest fundamental endorsement was no limit on damage caused by a guest. That's a big one. Think about it. I mean, you're entrusting your property. You guys had one. I mean, heaven forbid, hopefully it never happens. But if somebody went into one of your rentals, threw a party and put, trash the place, 100, 200, 300,000 in damage, we have no limit on damage caused by a guest. So a lot of your listeners may even pull out their insurance contract right now. And then the first couple pages is what's called your declarations page, which is like your table of contents to give you a snapshot of what you have. And what they see is vandalism. And they go, oh, I have vandalism coverage. I'm good. Well, you're not good. Damage caused by a guest is not under vandalism because there's a tricky part in the contract that states when you entrust your property to someone else, which you're doing with a short-term rental, you're giving them the keys for a week. There's no protection for criminal acts committed by that person you've entrusted your property to. And so if they trash your place, there's no coverage. And there never has been. And so people get really confused on that where they say, oh, I'm good. My agent told me I have vandalism coverage. You have vandalism coverage. You don't have damage caused by a tenant by a person you gave the keys to. Completely different deal, which again is unique only to us, but we pay a lot more claims. So the only thing you see online against proper is that we're expensive.
You lean into that, right? You say out front, we're going to be more expensive. And I was aware of that. I do see the same stuff that you see. Like the knock that people give proper is that it is more expensive. But I always respond to that and say, hey, listen, I want to invest in this house. And this company is the one that is built to support me and how we're going to use this house. Let's see how it goes.